Good morning. How's everybody doing? I just want to do a little check-in. Check-in. Why? Why is she doing a check-in? Because so much is coming up. And when I say so much is coming up, it's because so much is coming out. Coming in. This frequency, bandwidth, light. June, July, August, September. You've heard me talk about it a few times. It is happening for us, not to us, but it's also happening through us. And because it's happening through us, we're all going to feel it differently. For some of us, it may be exhaustion, nervous system overload, overwhelm. Some of us may have physical ailments, sleep issues, emotional purging, weird ass dreams. Lots are happening around relationships. And this is a new type of frequency. So when I've kind of tuned in before, we've been getting different waves over the years. This is different. You know, I've kind of called it a plasmic light Christ frequency wave. But it's different in its nature and how it operates. There's a higher intensity to it. And it is pulsing, like it is blasting. And I talked before about how this plasmic wave is affecting our neurology, right? So it's moving in through our nervous systems, the external aspect of that, which is all electric. Like everything here is a lot of electric frequency, that light electric, and it is activating them. So anything that was ever unresolved, ever unmet, ever ignored or numbed out or disassociated from, it's going to come up. But it might look weird ass. And I'm saying weird ass because if we've like shut it down, closed it down, tried to make it smaller than it is, like pass it off, but it's something that we needed to process, it's going to come up. The electrical aspect of the nervous system's being activated means we need to be super earthed and grounded. Now you're seeing me wear sunglasses now, but mainly because I don't want to be scrunched like this talking to everybody. But when I am out, I am most of the time attempting to have natural sun hit my eyes. It's 8 o'clock in the morning here. It's pretty bright already, right? Pretty bright, pretty hot. So just for the purposes of this video, I'm doing this. But get as grounded as you can. Get as much sunlight onto your naked eyes, onto your naked skin. No SPF as you can. I am saying no SPF, naked eyes, no contacts, no glasses, because the light that's coming through needs that right now. If you can't, don't do it in the middle of the day. If you can't do it in the middle of the day, right? You have to build up to this. So early mornings, late evenings. Light is the carrier of the information. The sun and the shenanigans that they're doing to the sun is not going to stop that coming through. All right? And there is a lot of shenanigans going on. Ignore it. Ignore all the external shenanigans. They are trying so hard to stop this, to put a dampener on it, to distort it, and they're never going to win. They're not going to win. Stop worrying about it. Okay? Worry about yourself. We're here to do the us things. So as much natural sunlight as you can into the eyes, onto the skin. Get in a water body if you can, be it rivers, lakes, wells, even if it's pools, if it's showers, baths, whatever you can do. Water is going to help as well. We are made of water. Blessing your water, talking to the water, talking to your body. It's key right now. And this is something I've been resistant to doing myself lately. I'm going to sit for a moment. Even my throat goes when I say that. Okay. Why am I yapping on? Only for anybody who maybe has not heard me speak about this before, and you're wondering what the hell is going on, what the hell am I feeling? This is intense. It could be that you're going 10 to the dozen and saying, blast me with 10, I'm ready, and you're getting blasted. Hands up anybody in the comments who likes to be blasted. You're not somebody who likes things at a 1 or a 2 or a 3. You like to get the full slap across the face. I am knowing that because it's a wave, right, and I very clearly was shown this as a wave, like in the visions, right? You know, it's like, you know, waves fold in and then they come to the shore and then they kind of, right? It is like, and there is a force as it moves, so we can feel it building, and that feeling it building, we've just had one crash, right? You can kind of say that. There's another one building. Now, it's going to look different for us all. Some of us may get the crash later or earlier, and then we're like in a breather space and somebody else is experiencing it. There is no right and wrong with this. It's just the nature of how the energy will be moved through our bodies, our frequency rates, our bandwidths, if you will. I'm going to breathe, right? So resistance has been coming up on me, and I want to speak to the resistance a little bit this morning, as well as some grounding stuff we can do, and as well as practical tools that can be applied to help us maneuver through all of the SH1Ts that might be coming up for us, even if we're not aware of them. And if anybody has a pattern, because these are all going to be patterns that show up, right? If you have a pattern of disassociation or numbing out, okay, of trying to ignore things and hope they get better, of maybe hiding your head in the sand a little, or literal hiding, right? Somebody, maybe like if something happens, you don't confront it, you kind of go off and hermit for a little bit. And there's nothing wrong, by the way. This isn't about like judging ourselves. This isn't about berating ourselves if these are how our patterns show up. Some of us have the fight pattern, right? Hair is on my mouth, sorry. There is no, and we move between them as well. Some of us move through fight into flight, freeze into disassociation or numbing out or hiding. Like, there is no wrong or right in any of it. It's about recognizing where you're at in your body and in your nervous system. Again, I'm going to breathe and I'm softening to my sitting space. That resistance, which is almost like a fight, it's a pulling back, it's a bracing. That's an old pattern of mine. It's because some part of me doesn't feel safe, some part of me doesn't want to be seen, right? I'm going to take a breath. Some part of me doesn't want to acknowledge something as true. Like, I really don't want this to be true. I don't want it to be true about a situation or another person or myself. So whatever it might be, that pattern's coming up. And I'm pushing against it. I'm like, no, I'm going to push through this. Which is a little bit of the fight element. But there's also a little bit of the numbing. I don't want to feel it fully, that's why I'm pushing it through. I'm afraid of feeling it fully and what it might mean about me. So everything I'm kind of saying here, it's like, these are the questions to ask yourself. Like, what am I making this feeling mean about me? What am I making what's happening mean about me? Mean about God, mean about the world, mean about my relationship, mean about my interaction with work or with whatever it might be. If you're not feeling it in a personal way, it may, or interpersonal way, it may be showing up as what you're getting, what you're reacting to outside of yourself. Politics, natural disasters, war stuff, anything to do with the kids, you name it. If you're not feeling it or seeing it happen in your own personal sphere, you're going to notice this coming up and how you're reacting to outside stimulus, outside events, outside information. So it's just really bring ourselves into the awareness of the pattern, because this wave is it really is like a shovel. It's a shovel digging everything out, every distortion, everything we thought was normal, all we thought were normal reactions, normal patterns. It is going to bring it up to the surface. You might notice more road rage, people skipping queues and you're getting agitated. You may notice more manipulation around you, and it's going to get heightened. People might lie more right now, and they're lying more. Why? Probably to protect themselves, or they just have ulterior motives. I'm yawning again saying this, right? I'm going to breathe into that one because I can feel that and see that around me right now. But some part of you knows something's off, even if the lies sound true. Even if the person believes what they're saying, they're actually lying to themselves. They might think they're telling the truth, but they're lying to themselves, and you're picking up on it. And it's like, oh, but we'll bring that back to you. Where is that true for you? What part of you wants to be seen? What part of you needs to be recognized and acknowledged? What needs to be spoken to? What needs to be commanded? You know, I've worked with Tara Love Perry's work, I Love You Me, self-love therapy. And I'm a coach trained in that. And I use that technique that she uses. And some people might kind of go, oh, it's kind of familiar to Ho'oponopono, or it's kind of familiar to something else that they've seen. But it is a in-depth tool. Really recommend right now, if you need a book, if you want to know what this is, and you go get her book, I Love You Me, Tara Love Perry. I'll put a link below. She does a breathe and receive as well, which is a breath technique of connection. So I've been using these techniques to navigate this SH1T happening around me and happening inside me. I've been also using my vagal nerve reset techniques, physical ones. And I'm yawning as I say all this because I'm even resetting talking about it, right? I've been also bringing in all of the grounding techniques I can fling at myself. But one thing that was said to me yesterday, because even though I am doing these techniques with myself, I speak to the issue that's coming up. Hello, ask it how it is. What's true, what's not true, where am I feeling it, what's the emotion, what's the thoughts running through my mind when I'm feeling this, what am I making it mean about me, where is it coming from, how old is it here? These are the exploration techniques, right? I'm navigating it. I'm asking what it needs, what's that pain here, what does it need, what's that feeling here, what does it need, and then I'm loving it. I love you, this, so I'm giving it space to breathe. But a part of me was still holding and resisting back. Empathy, compassion for myself going through this, because there's another part of me that believes you just push it through, make it happen. And sheer will and sheer force isn't going to make it happen right now, folks. And this is even to do with what you're creating and manifesting. Sheer will, sheer force, effort, it is not going to make it happen. It's going to blow up. It'll blow up in your face. And that's because of the energy right now. Again, this is something new, you see. We're working with a new frequency bandwidth that's coming through. And it is working on us so physically, so mentally. I talked about the microtubules in our brain are starting to light up even more. We have plasmic forces in quantum science. They've found this. And I didn't know what the word was. I had to look it up because they were telling me all these words. And I was like, what the hell is that? And I was seeing these microtubules, like weird ass, tiny things. And this light plasma starting to fire up in the brain. What is that doing? It's rewiring our brain systems. That's why the patterns are coming up. That's why belief systems are getting loud, especially if they're distorted. And it's then, as the rewiring is happening, it's expanding our bandwidth of consciousness. So we're going to be tapping into things. We're going to be seeing things left, right, center. We're going to be understanding things in a new way. We're going to be tapping into wisdom that we would not have had previously. Even those of us that are pretty quote unquote intuitive, quote unquote psychic, quote unquote can kind of realm navigate, it's going to be a little different. And especially for those of you that maybe don't experience the world that way, you're going to start. You're going to start. It's going to be a ride. Like, these next couple of months are a ride. And then if you like pause this video and come back to it in 6 months time and you're like, oh, FCK, she's right. Like, look at me then and look at me now. You're gonna kind of go, whoa. Because some of us are going to be timeline jumping, quantum leaping. But in order for this to be an easeful transition, because it is a transitory wave, like, get your surfboard, hop on this wave, ride with it. A level of empathy and compassion needs to be there. Softness, presence, acknowledgement. We can no longer be running around in our daily lives doing our daily patterns without at least giving ourselves more breath, more pause than ever before. More like space to allow the patterns to be realized, understand, and therefore make different choices about what are we now going to create. What shift, what different thought am I choosing? What reality am I creating? And it's weird because as I'm seeing this, I'm seeing the brain shifting. I'm seeing an expansive consciousness, and then there's a lag in the physical. And then the physical catches up. And then in other ways, I'm seeing actually people are having the physical alterations happening, like the cellular shifts, DNA frequency shifts, and then the brain stuff, thought patternings are lagging and catching up. So it's all going to be different, and you might even be hopping from one to the other. I think then the word navigation is the key. How we are going to choose to navigate this. And I was choosing to be a little resistant. That's why I'm talking about out loud today, right? Calling myself out in that. I'm calling out an old pattern of pushing through things, making things happen. All right, the fact my body is popping, you can see me recalibrate as I am talking, right? You're seeing my nervous system start to shift. I'm going to invite in some simple exercises. Simple regulation ones, different ones that I was doing yesterday, so you would have seen on the live I do some ones. I'm going to do some different ones today. It's a bit quiet here. Oh, there's some people with a dog over here. So cringe making videos out in public, really. It's easier for me than staying at home in the heat. I can get out and be outside. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to follow me with this. Now, we're going to work with the mouth and the tongue today. This looked like I was giving everybody the finger when I was doing that. I'm not giving anybody the finger. No middle finger. But you know what? I was looking at something yesterday. Maybe that's in my subconscious to speak about as well. I'm getting told yesterday it's okay, so some of the voices are coming through. So the elements. Wow. That energy that's coming through, my eyes are starting to water. It's the elements, so fire, air, earth, water, and aether. This is the aether, the finger, right? We've got the elements, and this one is the aether. I know in certain traditions there's, there's actually different in Chinese versus Indian. I think there's different, they use different fingers for different elements, so it's not always 100% true, right? But yeah, that one I was looking at was the Aether one, and that's what's talking to me right now. So this is linked into everything I'm talking about, so that's why they're coming through. The element of Aether is becoming louder and louder and louder. Now I channeled to the element of Aether. It's on my YouTube channel. Maybe 2 years ago, January I think 2025. I was with Olive Lynch. Hello, girl. And actually, it was when I was with Olive Lynch, I was being shown what's happening now coming as well. I was being shown the different timelines. They showed me 3 distinct timelines. There's obviously more, but they showed 3 distinct that will be specifically collectively, right, for us collectively. They showed, yeah, they're saying talk about this now. We are decoders and encoders. We are the master programmers. Isn't that so cool? Say that out loud. And when they told me that, I had to go like, what do you mean? And they showed me more or less like the netting structure around Earth. I talked about this before. The other people talk about this. They have different words for it. Force field, the matrix, the 3D reality, whatever way you want to talk about this. They showed me that like a netting structure, like an entrapment frequency bandwidth around Earth. And this is what keeps us stuck in our lower consciousness, if you will, right? Not reaching our full potential, enslaved in a way to other entities, beings, doesn't really matter what you call them. So they showed me that. They showed me that they cannot stop what's happening, which is this original source timeline. That's an old timeline, a lower timeline. They cannot stop the original source timeline coming through, which is what people are calling or terming New Earth frequency, right? Some people are calling it like the Eden, the paradise, the heaven on earth. Doesn't really matter what you call it. So they showed me that. Some people are calling it 5D consciousness. Really, I feel that's limiting. So I like to call it the original source code timeline, right? Kia, that's the Christ frequency timeline, some people call it as well, right? They cannot stop this happening. Now, they could thwart as many souls as possible that are going to be transitioning and already are. People are already there. People are already living that. Am I? Not 100% no, right? I'm still navigating. Even now, that's why I'm talking about this. We're navigating what has been left in that older timeline, which is the patterns, the beliefs, the limitations, the enslavement programs. We are navigating, closing out those old contracts, those old energy signatures, so that we are transitioning and quantum leaping into that original source code timeline, right? With more presence than ever before, with more anchoring in that frequency than ever before. And more souls are waking up to it. As master encoders and decoders. Hold on, they're bringing in some energy. I be told to breathe, so I could ask all of you to breathe as well. What they mean by being a decoder and a master decoder at that, we are learning, right? So they told me and Olive when we were sitting in her little back room and her healing room, they told me that time, and a frequency came through in light language that was very powerful. Olive and I were kind of shaking in the room. And it was like an anchoring in of the decode frequency. Many of you naturally can do this. And this was just a remembrance that her and I were both receiving in those moments. If we come across something like a frequency loop, like a, oh shit, they're showing me a lot of things right now. Say, watch your language. I will. They're showing me technology. They're showing me the elements themselves, nature. So we're here in the beautiful nature elements right now, right? I can even smell the sea, it's just down the road. We can decode that as well and recode it, right? This is mastery of the elements. This is when I've shown you, I think I have some videos up around like bending spoons and eliminating clouds in the sky, right? Being able to part the clouds, being able to bring wind, right? That's all mastery of the elements. And we have natural codes in us to be able to do that. I'm still practicing all of this. And there's times I'm just not bothering to practice because I'm doing other stuff, right? But you can see that right now, and there's been a massive upsurgence online even of people with telekinesis, telepathy is another one, but actually physically moving the objects with their mind. They're not even able to use their hands anymore, they're just able to look at it and it's able to move. We're just seeing people being able to do that right now. It's becoming easier and easier and easier. So that is part of a coding and decoding, right? What they're able to do is an encoding structure. If you're able to move something with your mind, that's an encodement. If a wind comes up, you want to stop the wind, that's a decoding. Now they're saying, like, regarding weather manipulation techniques, regarding, I'm going to speak about this, yeah. They're showing me these waves. It's like a technology, like mind to skull or skull to mind. What is that? Voice. They're saying voice to mind, voice to skull technology. This is a form of telepathy that is a technology the military has. And they're saying, they're even going like this, not just the military, Mary. So wealthy individuals as well, individuals with means that wish to manipulate consciousness or society structures, they have this technology as well. Like, I'm being shown it going to start to be used at rallies. They've probably already done this. It's all to do with frequency, electromagnetic waves, plasmic, in being able to alter the plasmic within the brain. So they show me the microtubules and the plasma as well, and then how that creates brain waves, like information communication structures, and they're able to distort them and create thoughts. Not just manipulate your thoughts, but create them. So you think it's being created by you. These are all the counter motives that is being used to try to distort what I'm talking about coming through, right? That all natural plasmic wave that's coming through to expand our consciousness. This is the fight against that. Yam sukyate te katawa. They're showing me as well, like the whole chemtrail malarkey as well in the skies. Radio, like a radio wave, but it's not a radio wave. It's like they're saying electromagnetic wave emitted out through machinery into nature and into peoples. So if you're in certain towns or cities, and this will create anger, frustration, irritation. People won't understand why they're feeling this way. So that's almost emotion creating as well as thought creation. So emotion creating, thought creation, emotion distortion, thought distortion. And then the physical crap that they're doing with the foods. They passed that new law in Europe where they don't have to list the origin of the food anymore, whether it's been lab, whatever it was. They were doing some gene altering thing. I can't even remember now because I just got so annoyed I didn't want to read it. That law, can anybody remember what it's called? It was passed last week in Europe, which is devastating for our future, right? The way food is. So food is pretty good in Europe. Like in general, you can get pretty good natural foods. It's going to be a bit more difficult for us to source things. They're going to make things like that. They're going to try and distort, because that's what that lower timeline is all about. Make it a little more challenging, which means we need to be more in our bodies present, more regulated, more present. We are speaking. I'm going to just let this through, right? And I'm going to say this energy that's right there. that I know and recognize, because that's the same energy that was with Olive and I. It is part of the elements, right? It's part of what it's all around us. It's also part of the plasmic divine source. It's one and everything, right? And it's just showing me shifting now as well. Some of us may recognize it even as an aspect of Holy Spirit, right? You might call it that as well. Although it's saying like the Holy Spirit is a delineation between that and the Aether. There is a delineation. Aether is the frequency, the consciousness, and the Holy Spirit is the energy. The power is within us to shift everything. So if we come across food and we don't have anything else, and we're stuck with what's there, and we have a feeling that maybe it's been pesticided or maybe it's been altered in a lab, they are saying with our consciousness now expanding at a vast rate, and with us embodying more of the light and the encodements, that through consciousness, through heart, through our physical body shift that's already underway, we're going to be able to change everything. Not just move things with our minds, but molecularly shift and move things. So if that thing has been grown in a lab and there's something distorted in it, you're going to be able, that apple, whatever it might be, reconstitute it, if you will, back into its original source code. This is the key, and I'm just getting, this is the key we're talking about around my head. I'm getting, nothing can stop what's coming. We are powerful in our creative capacity. Do not let anything make us feel overwhelmed or powerless. The voice to skull stuff that they're showing me, we can stop that, block that easily. All right, that is a frequency, and we can alter it. Right, being able to master this is going to be part of the evolutionary process moving forward. This is part of garnering momentum and strength in the anchoring of this positive original source timeline. The more and more of us that awaken to this fact, the more and more of us be the bridge, the living bridge for more and more of these souls to move into their original source coding. Breathe. It is a time that we are moving out of being powerless. They're even saying, and they're showing me this with my mind, moving out of not just the concept that we can do this, but the practical application of it in our day-to-day lives. And they're kind of looking at me going, do you realize this? Do you realize this? This is also part of what people would have called the miracle frequency. So if we're able to do that with apples, and we're able to do it with the clouds in the sky, right, which I've already played with, and we're able to do it with bringing up wind, which I've already played with, and we're able to do it with bending spoons, which I've already played with. Not a lot, by the way, but I've done it. So I've had the physical evidence like show up, right? And I've done it with certain healings in my body. So I know certain things are not just concept or stories because I've had the physical evidence. With me, it's around consistency. That's where I need to work my muscle. Doubt, belief, and faith. Because I have counter beliefs, and this is part of what I've also been working through the last couple of weeks, is my counter beliefs. So yeah, I understand something is true. I even have evidence of it is true. But somewhere I am still pulling out an old pattern of a counter belief that is countering my new encoding. So we can have this little thing happening inside us, not just outside of us. So I'm being shown like everything that's outside, we have the power to decode it. And I think maybe I need to do a little class on that, like, and we can share it all together and amplify it together, where we understand what it feels like as powerful encoders. I do it in the light language groups I've ran before in the past, probably more level 2, level 3. When we're in that space, we're kind of in more advanced, I don't know what a better way to say that, Iam Kuri Emakara, where we've done that in groups work, if you remember that. But I feel like more and more what that wants to come through now. What can you encode today? What can you decode today? Where is a block that can be decoded? Where is there a disbelief that can be recoded? How can you reframe, pull apart, and bring out the greater truth? Knowing that all things are possible. Where are your counter beliefs? Are they coming through you culturally? Are you, because culturally especially, I'm being shown healing now a lot around doctors, nurses, because we've been taught, and they've gone through so much schooling, and I've grown up in a family kind of like that, right? If somebody's given a stage 4 diagnosis or whatnot, it's like, oh, it's impossible, that's it, that's it, it's terminal, blah blah blah, whatever the diagnosis is. Or they have this autoimmune issue or this XYZ, and it's like there are no cures, blah blah blah, whatever it might be. ALS, like there is no cure. That is no longer true when we are living from this encoder decoder original source timeline frequency, because we can go in and recode the genetic, we can go in and recode the DNA, we can go in and recode the part of the body that has an issue. And there might be phases to this, so it could look like, you're doing this and then you're doing this, the steps, and for some it will be instantaneous. They'll go in and it'll be like a miracle, what people would call the miracle manifestation, instantaneous. So how is all this happening? And I'm getting told, for me, I need to keep practicing. I told you I've not been practicing as much. I've been getting tied up with other things. Okay. Give it presence. Keep speaking to everything. So now we're coming back to Tara's work. So let's say it is something to do with, I don't know, cystic fibrosis or ALS, or something to do with, they're saying, speak to the lungs. Let's say cystic fibrosis. Speak to the lungs. Breathe into it. Be present with it. Go right in there. Speak to every single aspect that's there. What does it need? What is it feeling? What is it experiencing? What is it thinking? What are the thoughts running? Bring it lots of empathy and compassion, presence, breath. And Tara has this in her technique, right? Bring it love. Everything wants to be seen, felt, heard, and loved. It opens. And forgiven, anything that needs to be forgiven, because this could even be going back generations, and it's just presenting as cystic fibrosis in this lifetime, in this particular person, but gone back generations. You want to go back, you want to break the contracts, you want to understand. It could be through karmic things. You want to understand, you go back and you clear, bringing forgiveness to everything in all directions. Bringing in command. And command is choice, command is power. Commanding it to be well, seeing it well. Commanding it healed. Bringing all your power back, right? Wherever the power has been released, even to doctors saying this is incurable. A bit of our power goes to that doctor, right? We start to doubt the all and the everything, the source of all that has given us these unique abilities. And that's part of the veil. That's that force field from that lower timeline. That's part of that veil. We're here to see through the veil now. To see through the veil to the original source code. And you're commanding that original source code to come through us once again. This can take a shift in our environments as well. This is why they have shown me, your food and your earth and your watering, everything is important right now. The support of the physical body is important right now. Light is important right now. I am fasting as well. Fasting is important to move into autophagy and apoptosis, which means our cells are eating what's not serving us. burning ketones, which amplifies the plasma in the brain, the microtubules. I was out of ketosis a few days ago, went to have some nice feasting for ourselves, myself and the husband. We had a couple of days out, we had a couple of days with friends, and I knew I had to get back in to be able to maneuver what's happening and to be able to connect deeper. I work better in a ketogenic state. And I was shown, and I'm kind of going off again, but this is all connected. Everything is connected. Why do you think the gurus of old, or even Christ, saying fast for certain things, right? This is coming in, so I'm going to speak to it. This is going 40 minutes. Okay, I don't want it to be too long. There's so much to talk about, and I haven't even got to half of what I can see here that they still ask me to talk about. Oh my god. I'm sorry for not getting to the point better. Ketogenic states strengthen our electromagnetic fields. Fasting strengthens your electromagnetic field. Okay, what we're dealing with right now is a shift in our electromagnetic fields. It's not just what's happening on Earth. And again, you would have heard me a couple of months ago start talking about, like, this isn't just us, it's happening to Earth too. And we can see that. I kind of had seen, and I don't like to talk into this because it frightens people, like earthquakes and volcanoes and storms and floods. And some of it is man-made, and some of it is also the shifting of, there's the poles as well, right? I've shown that back in 2017. The poles, the magnetic poles are shifting, but also Earth's overlay, Earth grid is shifting. And we got that back. At the same time, all this information came through was when I was with Olive. So much came through that time. This is before we were starting the sound baths, right? It was all in preparation for those sound baths we started doing together. And that, I did one last week. I'm probably going to do one next week, actually. Let me know if anybody's interested in coming, because I think there's a reason they're asking me to share all this information. Because I was just using a lot of this information for myself the last few years, and it's like, share it more, share it more, share it more. The Earth's electromagnetic stuff, the whole thing happening in the grid structure, everything happening with the poles, everything happening with our poles, as above, so below, as within, so without, our magnetic frequencies, right? And I talk about the plasmic wave being, it's a massive electrical current. Everything has to balance. So the more that we're taking in with light, the more the magnetic, which is our emotions, right, the physical matter, must shift to accommodate it as well. Fasting helps. Ketogenic helps. It's not what you eat, it's when you eat. I mean, it does have to do with what you eat as well. You want to have natural whole foods as far as possible, but most of it's about when. So you must use the ketogenic state with light and grounding for the maximum benefit. And I'm talking about specific times of light as well. The morning light, the sunset light, the midday light. So a cup, like 15 minutes, 15 minutes, 15 minutes if we can't manage it. Whenever we can manage it. Some of us have busy work days. For me, the morning is the most potent right now with where my body is at and what I am integrating. I still get some evening light and some midday light, but not a lot, right? I get as much light throughout the day as I can without glasses as well. I'll often have the glasses on, I'll take them off and walk for a couple of minutes and I'll put them back on. I will not wear sunscreen. Okay, and I used to be somebody with factor 100 because I would burn. I was so white. If anybody remembers, I would have my blue vein showing through everything with how white I was, which was also a sun sensitivity. I had that in my body. I also had MACAS. I had a lot of stuff, right? I would break out in hives. I had major sensitivities to certain food groups. All of that has been healed, right? I've done all that healing through sunlight, fasting, and ketosis. Dr. Courtney Hunt is somebody that I would have followed. She's on Instagram. Go check her out. She has amazing scientifically based quantum biology there and science for you to draw upon. I was told by a little voice to check her out at the time, and that's what I was using for healing. And reduction in inflammation that I had stored in my body for numerous amounts of years. And I'm still on the journey. So Christ spoke about fasting as well. And the fasting wasn't to allow the miracle to happen or the demon to be evicted out of the person, right? The fasting was to release the disbelief in the person that was doing it, right? Because the source is already there. We're not fasting to allow more source through. The source is already here, right? And anybody that's works a lot with Christ or you've got your Christian background, Christ has already done it all for us. It's already here. It's already here, right? The fasting is to bring us out of our disbelief, our counter manifesting, our counter beliefs that prevent that healing from happening. The fasting helps at a cellular level, but also it works on the brain and the belief systems as well. If we remember, the brain is operating from a ketogenic state, it operates from ketones, and this just makes everything fire slightly more efficiently and better, so it can help us also rewire at a quicker pace the brain systems, belief systems. Now, there's an element of the quantum in this. They're starting to make my voice go a bit strange. I'm wondering why. Because this is also connected into what we're showing you in the brain regarding the plasmic force light coming through and the microtubules, which is related to the expanse of consciousness. By the way, a lot of what I am being taught right now, in my personal experiences, in my own meditation work, it's like they're the connections that is being made constantly from the source that working through me, the Holy Spirit, whatever you want to call it, Christ light. They asked me, and this is something where I was told to read the Bible again, right from start to end. I am not finished, and I was resistant to that because I have a lot of memories around the Bible. I have a lot of past life memories as well, very specific memories around shifting of certain words, phrases to alter and dissipate meaning. But I was being told that there's still a core in there that I needed to understand to be able to apply it to quantum science and quantum biology, that the words didn't exist, but that the same meanings are there. So a lot of my exploration has been to understand that. I still haven't it done yet. I'm still in the process of, but just that thing even about the fasting was shown to me yesterday. And to understand the difference between that as well. When Christ said to fast, it wasn't that he was saying you had to fast to release that entity. He was saying it essentially because the person wasn't in full faith. They had a counter belief going. They thought it was stronger than them. And the fasting was helping bring them into alignment to allow the flow of source through them without interference. That's the difference. That's a decoding mechanism. I talked about us being the ultimate decoders and encoders. This is also how they're referencing this to me. Christ had mastered encoding at a level that we haven't even reached here yet, right? Yet. There are a few probably who have, yeah. But the majority of us are still on the path. Okay. I had planned just to come on to share this one thing. Nervous system reset. You're going to take your tongue and you're going to rub it on the inside of your cheek. We'll do one first, then the other. We're going to breathe as we're doing it. Yeah, you're going to discover, is it soft and smooth? Is it lumpy and bumpy? And you're going to for me, I like to push it as much as I can to feel a stretch. Okay, so I'm going to invite you to do the same. There's almost the slightest bit of discomfort. You can do it softly as well if you wish, but I find that works better for me in the reset. We have a trigeminal nerve here through the face. We're also stimulating that, and that has a link into the wandering vagus nerve, right? We also have muscles here that tighten when we are dysregulated. So we're helping massage and open this. We're breathing through the nose, right, as we're doing this. Nice deep breaths in and out. So we're going to do that first. We're going to do some tongue positions and eye movements. All right, ready? Let's take a breath in and out. Soften to the sitting space. In and out, soften to the sitting space. And I'm just going to massage my brow. Massage under my eyes. I tend to crease my brow a lot. I've got those matronly angry lines here. Mainly because I'm in the sun as well, but I hold tension there. So I'm massaging the temples. I can't use my two hands, but you can use your two hands. You'd be doing one here and one here at the same time. I'm going to do under my eyes, and if you kind of do this, one goes this way, one goes the other. You got a pressure point here. We're helping drain the sinuses. I've got my oils on, so it's easier. I'm not dragging my skin too much. Mayatra. Okay. I'm going to work with the mouth. Now remember, when we work with the mouth, we're working with down here too. Okay. So bring your tongue in and around the lips. Now let your shoulders, notice if you're doing this with your shoulders, let them drop. Now I am holding, so this one might look slightly raised because I'm holding up the phone. But let your shoulders drop. Breathe through the nose. Soften the sitting space. Feel the belly expand as you breathe in through the nose, right? Good. Now we're going to work with the cheek. We're going to push out, feel the inside of the cheek. And breathe. Right, do it again. So what I'm doing with the tongue is I'm raising it up, moving it back, moving it down. And there's a particular tense point, right, that this muscle that goes here, so I can feel it, right? So I'm going to push right against that, just right here. Good. Let's do the other side.
So that's a nervous system reset right there. It's stimulating, right? The yawn, you might get teary-eyed, saliva in the mouth, you might swallow, sigh. They're all responses. Keep going. I'm going to that tense point. This side is more tense for me than today, but I'm just going to go to this tense point here. Nice. Okay. I want you to stick your tongue out. And you're going to breathe through the nose all the way. Stick your, not your tongue, sorry, your lip out. And now you're going to smile doing it. You're just taking a couple of deep breaths in and out through the nose. Bite your lip. Smile as you're doing it. Good. Tongue. Stick your tongue out. You're sticking it out, not this little bit, right? When people stick out their tongue, they're like, stick it out as far as you can. You want to elongate that throat, stick it out, right? Smile as you're doing it. You can stick it up the nose. Remember you're breathing in through the nose as you're doing it. To the side. And to the other side. Good. With the tongue, you're going to touch the top of the hard palate. And you're going to close your mouth. And you're going to breathe through the nose. You're going to sigh, like really breathe down, soften to the sitting space. You're going to bring the tongue back to the soft palate. Right back there. That like softy bit, and you're going to press up and you're going to breathe through the nose, soften your. You should really, when you're doing this, right, that has a direct effect on the pelvic floor, so you just really feel that soften. Good. Stretch your neck. Other side. And you can look up with your eyes. And the other, look up. Good. Shoulders up to the ears, move them around, shake yourself out. Right, there's some simple nervous system reset techniques in the physical you can quickly do. Our electrical charges are shifting. The Aether is speaking again. Our electrical charges are shifting right now. Everything to do with the nervous system resetting, emotions and brain, our belief systems, the whole transformation is as one. Yamako, we can look at them separately, but remember we're holistic. Yam kuyaka yakateachi. Anywhere anybody's struggling with addictions, take out the I am, right? Take out the I am. I am a, I am a, right? Take it out is what I'm being told. Take that out now. Do not identify yourself with the addiction, right? It is something you are doing, not that you be. They're saying this is in direct confrontation with some beliefs out there about how to navigate that, but that is what I'm saying, so I'm just saying it right now. And it's almost like they're saying, once you take out the I am, you're handing it over. Move into your surrender point and shift everything. If you weren't addicted to that particular thing, it could be phones, it could be chocolate, it could be alcohol, drugs, people, unhealthy relationships. Move everything in your environment. In other words, remove it from your environment, shift your routines completely. If you didn't have this problem, how would you act? In other words, even though your reality still looks like that, how would you act if that wasn't your reality? What would your daily actions be? What would your daily thoughts be? What would your daily essence be? What would your daily routine be? It would not be the same routine. They're saying avoid all the routines that bring you back into that habit force. If it's a physical addiction, taper it down. Ma'aki, speak to the entity that is the cause of the addiction, right? So if it is chocolate, speak to, hey, hello chocolate, I'm sorry, I feel the craving for you, I feel an urge for you. Move into it. Please forgive me, chocolate. I'm so sorry, I still crave you. Even now as I'm speaking about you, I crave you, chocolate. Please forgive me. Move into compassion with it. I'm just giving an example, so I'm not really in that space. But if I was, I want to go deeper than the chocolate. I want to go into the elements of the chocolate. Hello, cacao. Thank you for being on this earth. Thank you for bringing so much peace, joy, and health and well-being to so many people. And I'm sorry if I am overusing you right now. Please work with me and help me. Hello, sugar. I am sorry if I take too much of you. My body is depending upon you right now. Sugar and cacao, right? Chocolate. Please forgive me. I'm sorry if I find it really hard. My body is creating an urge to have more and more of you, but it is not serving me. Please forgive me. I now choose that I must release you more and more and more, that you will no longer hold power over me. Anywhere there is a frequency or an element of power you have over me, I now break that vow, that contract, that promise through all time, space, dimensions, and realities. I call back my power back into my body right here, right now, through any entity, being, and plant. I love you. Sugar plant, I love you, and I bless you. You no longer have any hold over me. I use you responsibly. I use you less, whatever way you have to do this. I lovingly release and let you go. I choose not to buy you anymore. If I choose to buy you, I buy you organically. I buy you without the sugar. I make you at home myself. Find ways around it. If it is cigarettes, hello, tobacco plant. I bless you. I honor you. I understand you bring great wisdom to me. What is the wisdom you are bringing me as I smoke? You need to make it a ritual of love, not a ritual of soothing, not a ritual of hiding, disassociating, numbing out. A ritual of absolute love. Same for the drugs, if it is drugs. Right, you're going to speak to every single thing. Say it has no power over you. Call your power back. Command it so. If it is a person that you feel there's a tie, a connection to, speak to that. You have to talk to them out loud if they're in, it's not safe to talk to them in person, don't be doing that. Talk to the spirit of them, the energy of them, the frequency that has that hold over you. You're doing the same thing. A lot of things might have to fall away. A lot of people may have to fall away to keep you safe right now in what you are moving through. If it's just for now. Honor it. You will know when you speak into it. Alright, we're at an hour. So I'm going to leave it there at that. So much more. But I leave it here.